this might be the most least talked about, most underhyped top 20 matchup I've ever seen. Number 9, Illinois. Number 19, Indiana. An extremely, really good Saturday night matchup, primetime slot, and no one's really talking about this. Instead, we're talking about Florida and Miami. We got two teams on the line here, both undefeated, both legitimate Big Ten title contenders, both legitimate college football playoff contenders. And again, no one is talking about it, but we are. We're here to talk about this great battle between the Fighting Illini and the Hoosiers. Again, two teams that had massive aspirations and expectations heading into the season. One person's going to keep those aspirations alive. The other is going to see their margin for error become significantly smaller for the rest of the season. Who's it going to be? Let's talk about it right now on the Gridiron Expert. Welcome back, guys. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, to comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, which are some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. In the entire country, we're beating out over 80% of the national handicappers, have done so for 6 years in a row. We are doing so again right now, hit nearly 67% of our college football bets. Last week, hit over 60% in the NFL. We're on a great start to the season. We're going to keep it up in week 4. Take advantage of it. Become a member of our GE Nation today. Again, over on thegridironexpert.com. All right, let's get into it. Illinois, Indiana, neither of these two teams have been very battle-tested, just like we talked about with Auburn and Oklahoma. Granted, they both have quality wins over Baylor and Michigan, just like we talked about with Texas Tech and Utah. Now we're here with Illinois and Indiana. Illinois certainly a little bit more battle-tested than the Hoosiers just because they did win a road game at Duke back in week 2. And we'll start with the Fighting Illini, a team that offensively is obviously a veteran-led team. This is Brett Bielema's most experienced squad that he's had in Champaign. This is the one that people believe could be the year they break through to the college football playoff, won 10 games last year, maybe could win 10 in the regular season this year. They've won their first 3 games by a combined score of 135-22. So the Fighting Illini lighting up the scoreboard, 45 points against Duke, shut out Western Michigan, 38-0 last week. They're averaging over 405 yards per game so far this season. And of course, it all starts with their veteran, experienced quarterback in Luke Altmaier, who has thrown for over 700 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Has not turned the ball over so far this season. His go-to wide receiver, Hank Beatty, has over 289 reception yards on just 19 catches. 19 catches, 289 yards, and a touchdown. The next closest receiver to him, though, is Justin Bowick, who has 86 reception yards, right? So you look at that, and you look at Illinois. Altmaier's great. He's a great leader, and he takes great care of the football, doesn't make many mistakes. Not the most flashiest quarterback in the country, but he's good. He's got a great wide receiver weapon in Beatty, but after that, who is there? Who else can step up if Beatty were to get shut down? That's the question that you kind of have to have. But Bowick, I will add, 86 yards, does have 3 touchdowns. This is also a team, Brett Bielema led, of course, 164.7 rushing yards per game. They like to run the football, has done so everywhere he's been, Wisconsin, Arkansas, now Illinois. 3 players have rushed for at least 100 yards this season for Illinois, led by Caden Fagan. The offensive line, though, a bit of a concern. Yeah, the running game's been good against weaker opponents. They've already given up 9 sacks. So the O-line certainly does have a few questions. 9 sacks, they give up 4 sacks alone in their game against Duke. A game against the Blue Devils where, yes, they did win 45-19, but Illinois was still outgained in that game. They won that game because they forced 5 turnovers. So maybe credit to the defense, maybe just a sloppy game from the Blue Devils, but that score probably a little bit misleading. Duke was really in that game before just continuously shooting themselves in the foot. So Illinois's got the pieces offensively to put up some points, but will they against this very good Indiana squad? We'll touch on the defense here in a second, but let's look at the Hoosiers offensively. This team hasn't skipped a beat. They haven't skipped a beat. I think everybody was so worried last year. First year under Kurt Signetti, they lose Curtis Warwick, they lose all these guys, like, oh, they're gonna take a step back. That has not been the case. They look just as strong offensively, especially with Fernando Mendoza transferring in from California. He's thrown for over 700 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Actually, Mendoza's thrown for 708 yards, 9 touchdowns, no picks. Altmaier, 709 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 picks. So Mendoza has 1 more touchdown, but 1 less yard than Altmaier. Shows how similar and close these quarterbacks are statistically. Mendoza also extremely accurate, just like Altmaier. Only 21 incompletions so far on the year, but the Hoosiers got some dogs on the outside, right? They've got some wide receivers that are playing really good football. Omar Cooper, 299 reception yards and 4 touchdowns. Elijah Surratt, back this year, 164 yards and 3 touchdowns already. They are averaging over 307 rushing yards per game as well. And again, take that with a grain of salt. Indiana has had one of the easiest starts to the season of any team in the country, only playing Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State, where the Hoosiers had 73 points and only gave up 77 yards of offense. So nearly had as many points as yards allowed. This is a team that, again, has run the ball well. How will they fare against an experienced, stout Illinois defensive line? 3 players have rushed for 200-plus yards, led by Kalen Black and Roman Hemby. They did lose their number 2 rusher in Lee Beebe Jr. He rushed for 209 yards. He is out for this game. This Indiana offensive line has only given up 1 sack on the season. So, Kurt Cincinnati's got this team rolling, right? They've got great quarterback play. They've got great wide receivers. They've got great running backs. They've got a strong offensive line. Everything's looking good for the Hoosiers. Maybe not a one-hit wonder after making the college football playoff last year. The question now becomes for both these teams. Both offenses are very efficient. Both have shown the ability to light up the scoreboard. What defense will come through now? Illinois, you look at them. A veteran defense, no doubt about it. But they were kind of exposed a little bit against a competent offense against Duke. Darian Mensa, the Tulane transfer, lit up this Illinois secondary for 356 yards. 356 yards through the air in that game against Duke, where, again, Illinois did dominate, technically, forced 5 turnovers, which was great, but, again, we're still outgained in that game. So, can they stop the pass? Can they stop Fernando Mendoza at home? Can they stop these wide receivers? Or will they have a hard time doing so and allow Indiana to do whatever they want offensively? This Fighting Illini have been solid against the run through the 3 games they played, only giving up 74.7 rushing yards per game, and their pass rush has been phenomenal. Already have 10 sacks through just 3 games. So if they can find a way to generate pressure on Mendoza, if they can find a way to shut down the run game and force Indiana to be a one-dimensional offense, that's going to play into Illinois' strength, right? Don't allow the Hoosiers, who are rushing for over 300 yards per game, don't allow them to run the ball. Shut that down. Force Mendoza to do everything by himself with those wide receivers he's got. He's more than capable of doing that, but if you're getting enough pressure on him, some consistent pressure on him, could lead to maybe his first interception of the year. So that's kind of the strategy for Illinois. Indiana's offense has been so good and so explosive. You've got to find a way to take away one aspect of it. The most likely one is stopping the run, and then you got to hope that your secondary makes some plays. Indiana, they're stingy. They were stingy last year. They're stingy again this year. They're giving up just 220 yards per game. Again, they haven't really faced any great offenses. Yes, I know Old Dominion just went on the road and torched Virginia Tech. They played Kennesaw State and then played Indiana State, where, again, they scored 73 points and only gave up 77 yards of offense. But, again, it's Indiana State. This team is giving up 105 passing yards per game, 115 rushing yards per game. And I'm looking at this, and I'm kind of feel like the recipe for Indiana is very similar to that of Illinois, and it is stop the run. Don't allow Caden Fagan and don't allow Brett Bielema to come in here and play their style of ball, which is going to be to bully you in the trenches, to have their way with you on the ground, which will ultimately set up some big-time pass plays from Luke Altmaier. You can't do that if you're Indiana. You cannot allow that to happen. So if I'm Indiana, sure, you're shutting down the run. They had one of the better rushing defenses in the nation last year. So far, off to a good start this year. The 115 slightly concerning already considering the opponents. But my biggest thing is shut down Beatty. Shut down Beatty. Shut down Hank Beatty. If you do that, who's going to step up for Luke Altmaier? Who's going to do it? What other wide receiver is going to come out there and be the go-to guy for him? Because through 3 games, there really hasn't been. Again, Bowick has 3 touchdowns, but only 86 yards. Who's going to be the guy? So if the running game doesn't get going that much, if you hold Illinois to about 100 yards rushing, roughly, they're averaging over 164. If you hold them to about 100-yard rushing, really aren't getting any big chunk plays, and you're forcing Luke Altmaier to win the game through the air, but you shut down his number 1 wide receiver, can Illinois win this game? I might have my doubts. The Hoosiers have 8 sacks on the year. They have forced 5 turnovers. They created a lot of takeaways last year. Cincinnati's hoping to do the exact same thing this year. And it all starts now. Their first true test of the season at home against a top 10 opponent in Illinois. So who's going to win it? Who's going to win it? Again, this game is getting overshadowed. For some reason, I feel like it's getting overshadowed by a 1-2 Florida team against a top 10 Miami team that's going to probably annihilate the Gators. It's at night, but it's getting overshadowed by the afternoon game of Auburn and Oklahoma. We've got a top 25 matchup in all 3 levels of the day, right? You start your day with Texas Tech, Utah at 11. 2:30 is Auburn, Oklahoma. The nightcap is Illinois and Indiana, and no one's talking about it. This game is very interesting to me. But ultimately, going with the home team. Going with Indiana. I picked them back in the preseason to win this game. I'm picking them to win it now. Curt Cignetti is 11-0 at home with Indiana. Last year was his first year. He had a favorable schedule, but he won all 8 home games. He's won all 3 this year. 11-0 at Indiana. However, Illinois is the first ranked team they have faced at home under Curt Cignetti. They are just the 3rd ranked team overall that Indiana has faced under Curt Cignetti. Ohio State on the road last year was 1. Notre Dame in the playoff was the other. Now it's Illinois. So their 3rd ranked opponent they faced in just 16 games. It's a very small sample size. Indiana has beaten the teams they were supposed to. They failed to beat the ranked teams. Maybe that's still the case now. I don't think so. I was not thrilled or impressed from what I saw from Illinois against Duke back in week 2. Saw some good things, sure, on occasion, but I feel like the box score, or the final score, I should say, was very misleading. If you look at the box score, you go deeper into it, you realize there were some things that Illinois needed to correct. Indiana's a much better team than Duke. Their offense is much better than Duke's. Their defense is up there with Duke, probably, I think, better than Duke's. And their home field advantage is certainly going to be much better than what Duke had 2 weeks ago. I believe Mendoza walks into this game, delivers in a big way. Indiana's offense remains as balanced as ever. Yeah, maybe they don't run the ball as effectively as they had in the first 3 games. I'm not expecting them to go for over 300 against this Illinois front 7, but they are going to remain balanced. I don't envision them becoming one-dimensional. Illinois is going to cough it up at least once. I think Luke Altmaier makes his first big mistake of the year. He will throw his first pick of the season, and Indiana will win this game. They will start 4-0 for the 2nd year in a row. They will skyrocket in the rankings well into the top 15. And again, maybe people starting to look at Indiana a little differently. Maybe saying, hey, they weren't a one-hit wonder. Yeah, they got a lot of tough games left to play. Got Iowa on the road coming up. Got Oregon coming up. It's a much tougher schedule this year than last year. But the first true test for the Hoosiers, they're going to pass it. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Our final prediction of the week. Now let's get ready for a massive weekend of college football. Week 4 officially on deck. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you're most excited for. Let us know your prediction for this game. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. Do not miss out on those. Again, the link for that down in the description below. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.